It's letting go of the 80% and focusing on the crucial 20% that's relevant to high impact, Carl. It's exactly what you just said.
Yeah, I have found, like, here, I'll give you an example. So let's say we're getting ready to go on an airplane,
Yep.
and we got 100 gallons of fuel,
Yeah.
but it's bad gas, man. It's got water in it. But dude, we have all this fuel.
All this fuel, it's
We have
good.
quantity out the wazoo.
90% of it's good. Only 10% water.
Only 10% water. Or would you rather have 10 good gallons that'll get you it'll get you to the runway. It'll land you safe. You know, so quality, I think, but I've always thought, and we're going to talk about how that works from the business, but dude,
Yeah.
I learned about 10 or 15 years ago, maybe a little longer, that, this thing of, like, with our family, we're
Yeah.
spending quality time with the family. It's absolute crap.
When you're talking about family, it's not micro quality. It's what you constantly say. It's I want time.
It's quantity. Yeah.
I want a lot of it.
So you got to be careful with this quality quantity, because sometimes it works,
Yeah.
but sometimes it works the other way. So, like, at home, I've never believed in quality time. I only believe in quantity time. But the only way we can make that happen is at work.
Yeah.
We don't do quantity work.
Yeah.
We do quality work.
Hey,
So
listen, hold on. Go ahead.
So work is quality time,
Yeah.
and home is quantity time.
Hey, let me challenge your thinking on that.
Tell me.
This. Yeah.
Give it to me. Give it to me. I feel like I'm in the ring with Muhammad Ali. I'm a little intimidated when you go.
No,
wait
no,
a minute.
no. Hey,
wait a minute.
no, because
you're a
we've been
badass
talking
boxer,
about this
man.
all week. And look, you know what the challenge in the thought process is?
Tell me.
When you're with your family, what makes it quality time I don't think it's one or, it's both and. Because here's what happens is, how many people have we talked to this week? I was talking to somebody and she just said, every vacation I've been on, quantity, I have been on my computer, my phone, and putting out.
See, they're not on
fires.
vacation. Their family's on vacation, but they're not.
Well, but they're in a room with their family, but I think
they're not with their family. But they're not with their family.
Yeah, well,
they might as well get a cardboard cutout.
Yeah,
and of their face and put it in the room, because if I've got my head on my computer screen, or I got my head on my phone screen, and my kids are in the room,
yeah,
man. And I've done that, brother. I've done that.
Yeah.
And
well, I think it's quality too. Like, am I engaged, or am I thinking about what's happening in the fires that are going on? So let's say there's not even a phone or a computer. I think the quality has got to be, when I'm with family, I'm engaged. I'm not distracted by the things at work. I'm present. I guess that's a good way to say it.
Hey, dude, I saw this study, and I saw this study it's probably been about 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was, if I remember right, this is off the top of my head, if I remember right, it was a book called Man in the Mirror. It was about reflecting on yourself.
Edwin. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. And if I remember right, in that book, the average father with the average, and it gave the age of the child. I can't remember what it was, but it was young.
Yeah.
But the average one-on-one time for a father to their child was 1 minute and 17 seconds a day. 1 minute and 17 seconds a day of one-on-one time. So watching TV with them, don't count.
One-on-one time.
Yeah, that's not one-on-one time. I'm talking about looking in their eyes and engaging with them. 1 minute and 17 seconds. When I saw that was really the pivotal moment in my own personal life, that when I saw that I really started to really focus on the time of the kids. But let's talk about work quantity, quality.
Hey, well, that's such a great reminder. It's just because I find myself doing that. It's like we're around each other, but it's the eyes that, like.
Hey, wait, listen. This minute and 17 seconds.
Yeah.
This massive amount of time, the average father. And we're worse than the moms. I think we can agree, right? I mean, putting ourselves on the cross here, for sure. Typically, not always, but on average,
Yeah.
typically, that was before they invented the smartphone. So now the smartphone,
Yeah.
it's got to be less.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Scroll
heard just
reminded
this
me.
morning the average person picks up their phone, looks in their phone 372 times a day.
I believe it. Yeah.
372 times a day.
Wow. Hey, and that's why I think it's both quality and quantity. It's both, like on the family. I
So,
don't think it's
so
mutually exclusive. I think it's both and. It's being intentional to say, we help people with this all the time. I got a start time, I got an end time. And Carl, one of the things that you can do, like that's helped me make sure that the quality of what I'm doing is first, is and I know you probably hate hearing me, but I remember 3 years ago when you and I really started working together, you really challenged me on this, because what I used to do is be reactive to everything business, and what was left the family got. And then what I've learned to do is, how do I make it quality versus quantity in work and in life? And so now, like, we just ended our school year, but every Friday, people know from 7:30 to 9, I'm taking my kids to school and we're having breakfast. Every day on Tuesday and Thursday at 4 o'clock, I'm driving my daughter to her dance at 4:30. And what we've got to do, how we fight for the quality, is family first, family and personal first. You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of being engaged. So you look at what happens that is the priority first, and you build it into a livable calendar. Because Carl, here, I was talking to somebody yesterday. I said, you would do better to have 2 hours of quality time of work every day than 8 hours of just distraction and unfocused and activity and busy work. The quality moves the needle more than the quantity. And then once you do family and personal, then you build the number one sales priority you have to do every day, which so many of our members, it's the call stars, 2 hours of outbound calls in a cool micro community, holding each other accountable. And guess what? Everything outside of those two things can blow up and you will still grow.
hey, you said something a minute ago. I want to. You said you take your when is it you take Ellie, your
Every
daughter?
Friday morning from 7:30 to 9. Now we just hit summer, so we're
No,
finding
you
a
go
new.
to, but you go to, you take her to dance.
Oh, Ellie goes to dance every Tuesday and Thursday at 4:30. So I drive her at 4.
And you take her to dance.
I take
So,
her to dance.
so
Last
let me,
night, hey,
let me
listen, a cool thing happened last night.
tell me.
She was going to walk out the door, and I said, honey, let me get that door for you. Because what I'm teaching her is a
Mm,
real man opens the door. And I said, hey, baby, let me get that door for you. Then we got to the truck. I said, let me get that door for you. I said, you know why, baby? Because real men open the door for women. And you're an amazing woman. And I don't ever want you to forget that. We came home last night, Carl, sitting around the fireplace outside, which is our nightly routine. We all go out towards the pool and the fireplace around 8, and we just sit out for an hour and talk. She
mm,
said, mommy, guess what dad did? He's opening the
mm.
door for me. And she said, of course he does, baby. Real men open the doors for their daughters and for women. And that happens because the priority or the quality time has already been scheduled. And it's
Mm.
just been a gift, man, which
And the
you're
reason
such
why
a
we
great
do
example
that,
of that.
and the
Yeah.
reason why we do that is
We
we
want to,
honor the women
Mhm.
in our lives
Yeah.
because they do so
Oh
much.
my gosh. Yeah.
They do.
Oh,
They're the
incredible.
building block of the family.
That's it.
And here at my office, and I think yours too, they're the
Mhm.
building block of our offices
Mhm.
that we honor the women. So it's not that they can't open the door, of course, right?
Yeah.
It's not it's out of respect and
That's right.
honor,
That's right.
kind of like, and I'm not saying this to be funny, like bowing to the king,
Yep.
right? So or curtsying to the queen.
That's right.
It's in that same vein. So by the way, I used to take my daughter to dance,
Yeah.
and I have a guilty uh um um I gotta fess up.
Yeah. Tell me.
So the real reason I love the reason that you took yours. Let me tell you the reason I took mine.
A blonde
Oh,
haired guy.
because yes, Hulk Hogan I wasn't
Just,
sure if I told you this. Hulk Hogan
you
took his
did.
daughter to the same dance place.
Yeah.
And so I get to hang out with Hulk for like an hour,
Yeah.
a couple times a week, and it was awesome, man. He was,
You were
dude.
telling me he had that car and his head would sit above the
He
windshield.
had now this guy had a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
of all things, he drove a convertible Mustang,
Yeah.
which is a nice car. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like a convertible Rolls or
Right.
Bentley or
Right.
whatever,
Right.
But yeah, he drove a convertible, and you could see him around town, man. His head literally would stick above the windshield.
That's
It looked like so he'd be in this So in this dance, we're waiting for the dance. They got these little kid chair things that we're kind of sitting in.
Yeah.
Dude, his like he's an
Massive.
enormous
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
He was a really, we all have our issues, and I'm sure with all the fame and stuff
Yeah.
that I'm sure he had his share, but he loved his little girl though, and
That's right.
he took her to dance every time. Hey, so talking about quality quantity, I
Mhm.
was talking to some of the loan officers coming out of your latest boot camp,
Yeah.
and they were talking about something that we've talked about, I think, here before, and it bared repeating,
Yeah.
or is worthy of repeating, because this goes right into the quality quantity.
Mhm.
So they said that in the boot camp, you're showing them how to connect up with these quality
Mhm.
referral partners
Yeah.
versus the quantity
That's right.
referral partners. And the difference was that when you're dealing with the what we call qualified agents, or the
Yeah.
top producing agents,
That's right.
that to close, like, let's just say, and use multiples of four, to
Yeah.
close 4 loans, I can either have 80 non-qualified agents that I'm
Yeah.
marketing to,
Yeah.
or I can have uh 20. What was that, the number? Is it eight? Four? No, eight. So I
Yeah.
can
It's
either have
8.
eight
That-
qualified agents,
That's right.
right? Which is pretty easy to market to 8 people, right? Because then I'm just marketing to one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight.
Yeah.
I,
That's
I,
right.
I can do it on 2 hands.
That's right.
Whereas I'm marketing to 80
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
that when I'm doing with the qualified agents,
That's right.
the quality agents, the agents that already have a lot of business going, that I only need to talk to 8 to
Yep.
close 4 deals a month versus 80
That's
to
right.
close 4 deals a month. Dude, that's a perfect example of
Yeah.
quality over quantity. And not that we can't do both. So by the way, I think it was you were telling me, and I found the same thing over in my branch, that half of our business
Mhm.
was coming from the non-qualified agents.
Right. Yeah.
The difference is there has to be hundreds of them,
That's right.
like
Yeah,
literally.
that's right. Hundreds. Yeah, because what happens for the unqualified agent, mathematically, it's about one transaction a month for every 20 that you have. And it's just not scalable. However, like in the boot camp yesterday, Carl, I walked them through how to touch the unqualified agent. We have a whole process called high tech, high touch. In about 2 hours a month, you can touch hundreds of unqualified agents and stay top of mind. So we don't want to neglect them. But if I'm running out of time, and Carl, this is where a lot of it has come. People, and when we're talking about quantity, I'm not saying you don't need to make a lot of outbound calls. What I'm saying is we've got to measure the activity we're doing, because you know what happens? I talked to somebody 2 weeks ago and she told me this. She said, I'm doing 3 events a week. And I said, wow, 3 events a week. And she said, yes, it's great. How many loans you closing? Oh, I'm getting a handful a month from it, like maybe one or two. And Carl, my next question is, well, then what's your challenge? She says, I'm out of time. I'm working 50 to 60 hours a week. And it goes back to, she was doing 3 events a week. Each event was taking 3 to 4 hours. So you're talking about 12 to 15 hours a week to get 1 to 2 transactions a month. And I just said, is there something else we can do that would produce more results, or even more results, in less time? And when you're growing your business and you find yourself saying, hey, I'm running out of time, you can't manufacture more time. You have to have a hard stop, a hard start, because if not, we're robbing from our families. So what we've got to do is, can I be more effective? Carl, you and I talked about this, I don't know, a couple months ago. Your time is a printing press. Everybody's got the same printing press. Everybody's got the same paper. But every decision you make in your 9 to 5 or 8 hours of work a day, you get to choose. Am I printing a $0 bill, a $1 bill, a $5 bill, or a $1,000 bill? And you're choosing by using either, you're doing a bunch of quantity, busy, 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 versus a handful of things that move the needle the most. And that's where it's a real diving deep into. Like, I'll give you an example. In right now, we've had, I don't know, 91 people going through the boot camp here in the last handful of months. And what's been remarkable is the thing that has made the biggest difference. We just talked to Laura this morning, was closing a handful of loans, couple loans a month. When she started, she just graduated last month. This month, what'd she say? Putting up $4.5 million in closed volume. She's only been in the business. This is her 3rd year. Her first whole year, she's doing more this month than she did her first whole year. And if you look at the activity, it's not quantity. She's dialed into the 2 hours of call stars, calling the right people with the right conversation, making sure she's asking for the business every time. Because a call without a call to action is, again, quantity. The quality is I'd rather have less calls with the right call to action, understanding that we're only going to convert for every 10 that I meet with, I'm going to get about 2 to 3 to start referring. Well, here's the thing. Anybody can get 8 more relationships if I focus on quality and not quantity. And this business, Carl, you and I have talked about it. It's so intoxicated with busy chasing conditions, busy chasing and doing things, and 22 meetings internally. I mean, it's nonsense until we say, what's the quality that moves the needle the most? How do I focus on that 20%?
Yeah, it was funny, and that was Lauren Barron that you're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
she's remarkable.
fascinating lady. So what was it? She said 2 years in the business.
This is her third. And
This
so
is
the
her third. So
first
she's
year
had
she,
two
yep,
complete years, just
yep,
starting the
her
beginning of
third.
the
Yep.
third. So 2 years in the business, and what was it again? All of
First year
last
she did
year.
4.5, 4.6, and this month she's closing more than what she did her whole first year.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what that all comes from?
Mhm.
But we asked her what moves the needle. Like, how is it that you're
That's right.
just finished up your second year in the business,
Yeah.
and this month you're closing more than last year all put together? So
Yeah.
you talk about a 10x, she 12x. She's making in 1
Mm.
month what it took her all of last year, right?
Yeah.
And let me, 4.5 million for the year, not a bad year, right?
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. Second year in the business, 4.5 million, nothing wrong with that at all. But now a pivotal switch where she closed in a month what it took a year to do, right? And not a bad year,
Just
right? Not a bad
compress.
year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was all about the quantity, no, the
Quality. Yeah.
quality,
Yeah.
the quality of prospecting time, where she prospected 2 hours every morning
Mm-hmm.
on your boot camp,
Yep.
that thing that you guys do every morning on your boot camp,
Yep.
where you're making your outbound calls. You just all do it collectively together with your cameras all showing on each other. Really
That's
cool
right.
idea, by the way. And that in that 2 hours, she did more quality prospecting
Mm-hmm.
than the other loan officers that are working 10 and 12 hours a day. She's literally prospecting, working 2 hours a day. The other 6 hours is just, I don't know, locking the loans and, tweaking the applications or clarifying a couple things or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. She could if she could prospect 2 hours
Mm-hmm.
and then work on the files for 2 hours, and dude, like at noon, go home, like literally.
Yeah.
And it's all because of that quality
That's right.
prospecting and that 2 hour time. I think that quality prospecting and
Mm-hmm.
that 2 hour time, I really believe that's the secret sauce to all this stuff. But you have to know
Yeah.
like what to say and who to say
Mm-hmm.
it to and all that stuff. And then when you got that stuff knocked out and you know who to
Yeah.
have your quality prospecting to, that like in her case, this
The
month,
right agents. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
this month,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
closing what she did all of last year. So as you're listening to this today, just think to yourself, what would your life look like if you went to making this month all of what you did last year?
Mm.
And I think the first part of that is to realize you can, because
Mm.
Laura did,
Mm-hmm.
because she followed a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, for those people that are ready to follow a plan, what do we got for them today?
Yeah, go to loanofficersuccess.com, loanofficersuccess.com. And just, I think there's 4 or 5 pieces of information you put in there, and then we'll call you literally right away. There's only 12 people in each boot camp. And so I got to tell you, it's almost full, but put in the information. We would love to have a conversation and help you with next steps. So loanofficersuccess.com. Hey, and Carl, one of the things that I think is so powerful about the quality versus quantity is this: when you understand the math, and these are the 4 pillars we go through. The math removes any anxiety. Like, half of the thing is, if I knew what to do, Carl, I'd do it. How many times have we heard that? Like, if I knew I pull this lever enough times and water comes out, all the water that I need, then how many times do I have to pull it? Awesome. I just got to do whatever it takes to pull it that many times. That's the math. The math is documents and data. It removes fear. It removes anxiety. It removes, am I doing enough? Second thing goes into skill. There's only a handful of skills that if you'll get better at your conversations, and maybe there like 3 main scripts we work on for 8 weeks, design conversations that have massive conversion. So if you can like implement these very simple skills, which clearly you can, then what it does is it starts to help you as you move into the discipline part of it. And discipline is really about, nobody ever woke up and said, Carl, I'm disciplined today. But when you get in a community that you have to show up for, and and you're showing up for them, they're showing up for you, you're high-fiving each other, and you're saying, all right, man, are we on call stars? Are we making our calls? Dude, today was awful. That's all right. Tomorrow will be better. And it creates this motivation, which I believe leans into discipline over time, will turn into desire. And here's the craziest thing, Carl, because if you'd have said, do you start with belief or do you start with math skill discipline? And what's been amazing is like in week 3, 4, 5, yesterday we were on our coaching calls. Carl, you wouldn't believe the number of people that are like, I just did it. I can't believe we did it. Look at this result. I did this and I got 2 contracts in this weekend. And their action, because of the community, is creating results that now say, I can do this. I'm worthy. I'm good enough. I believe I can. And that's probably been the greatest thing. It's like, there's no magic dust. It's just putting yourself in a environment that really challenges you to reach your full potential. Hey, there's 4 areas of freedom we long for. It's money freedom, it's time freedom, so it's money freedom, time freedom, your relationship freedom, and the last one is purpose freedom, like the freedom to make a difference. And what you're finding is when you've got those 4, you begin to live, and it empowers you to do things you didn't think you could otherwise do. And so it's just been fun to see, man. And you've been a big, this all began because of our conversation of how can we help loan officers take a next step who say, I'm willing to do the work. I just need a plan and a community to stay accountable.
It's like, hey, I got a shovel. I'll dig. Show me where to dig.
That's it. And don't let me waste my time. Let me
Yeah.
focus on the right thing, and I'll do the work. So
Yeah.
loanofficersuccess.com. So that's it.
All right.
All right. See you.